Maybe we should start by announcing what it is, saying what it is. We've been so mysterious. Did anyone
Okay.
guess it based on the label you posted yesterday?
Everyone knows who he is and knows what I
I
like
think
to
people
be
even guessed it from the
mysterious.
track, but I'll hold it up. This is the Steve Byram art.
Whenever I see the cover, I think PTSD.
I know it's cool though. But Palm Sweat by Marc Ducret plays the music of Tim Berne. So double
Looks
LP.
like PTSD OTB. Mark's doing some off-track betting and he didn't do too well. Got PTSD from that.
I guess I haven't even broken down with this. Oh, it's every first letter, right? Palm
Yeah,
Sweat.
I think so. Let me say it again.
Burn.
Palm Sweat, Marc Ducret plays the music of Tim Berne.
Yeah, and the back is super awesome.
Yep.
We'll get these to the people soon. But yeah, so Mark playing the music of Tim Berne. I guess my first question is, and I don't really have many questions. We can just kind of talk about it. Matt Mitchell has played your music. Greg has played your music. Did you poke Mark to do it, or was it Mark's idea?
I a light poke. I mean, he was here. We were doing some gigs. I think Snake Oil, and then we did something with Ducret and Torn and Devenhoff and Chess, and then he was going back to France because there was a pandemic.
Was
And
this March 2020?
yep, this was either end of February or early March.
Yeah.
And I was sitting around. Mark was staying with us, and I'd begun writing these exercises, and then I was sort of turning them into tunes, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them. But I was just in one of those modes where I just wanted to do something different, just get something to motivate myself. So I just started generating a lot of material. And so I had all this music that I was sort of fucking around with, and Mark was walking downstairs. I think he was getting ready to leave or something. And I said, "Hey, you want a bunch of music? Maybe you can make a solo record." Or I was just kind of joking. He said, "Cool," like he always does. He just says, "Yeah, sure." And when
Did
he
you
says
hand
that,
him charts and he took them
I
with
just handed him a pile of paper, and I did, and it was music. None of it I had recorded or played
Yeah.
with anyone, and so I just said, "Yeah, here's a stack of shit. Maybe it'll work on guitar. Who knows?"
Yeah,
We
because
just
when you had told me about the solo record, I thought it would be like stuff from Big Satan and stuff from Blood Count that he had played before, but it's almost all new music from the past.
yeah, 90% of it is, and the stuff that isn't is anyway because of the way he arranged it.
Yeah.
Um, so I gave him that, and then he had these scores of Snake Oil stuff because he had made a record with us and done some gigs with us. So he had the latest Snake Oil stuff, and so I can't get the exact timeline right, but I would say about a year or two after that. I don't remember when was the pandemic, 19 or 20.
March 20.
Yeah, okay. So maybe 8 months later or time, I don't know, a long time later, he said, "Oh, I'm almost done with the solo record." And we hadn't even talked about it. I had never thought about it again. And I said, "Oh," I said, I didn't think you'd really do it. And then he started describing to me, he said he played about 10 guitars, and I think he plays bass on it.
Yeah, there's
And then it kind of got
brass choir. There's all kinds of crazy stuff.
yeah, yeah. And so he every once in a while he'd say, "Oh, do you mind if I do this or do that?" I said, "I don't care what you do, anything." Fine. So then it kind of got delayed with the recording process, probably because of the pandemic. But he was doing a lot of it at his house. He has this guy come in
Yep.
and so
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's not a home recording. Obviously, there was someone else there.
no, there's no
It's just the way
and
that
and so then he used these brass guys who were great, and then his son plays cello on it. Mark plays some drum stuff. And then he finished. I kept then once he got my attention, I started asking him, "How's it going? Are you almost done?" And then he kept having these delays, and then finally he finished and sent it to me. And I mean, I knew he was going to do some stuff overdubbing, but I kind of thought it was just going to be all him. So I thought it was just going to be a million guitars, and so I heard it and I listened to it, and I was freaking out. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing!" Not that I'm surprised, but I also could barely recognize. At that point, I'd forgotten what I even gave him. and I could barely recognize the tunes. Not that that's what I was trying to do, but it just sounded like him, almost like him playing his music. You know, he really made it his own. And then we started talking, and then finally I said, "Okay, what tunes are you doing?" And then as he told me, and then as I remembered which tunes those were, and you know, then I could hear it. But there are a couple of things, like the snake oil things he used. There's a bass line he uses at the end.
Yeah, which is not a Snake Oil record he's on, right? It's a bass line from Shadow Man.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then, and then the other place where he used it, I knew what he was doing, but it didn't sound right. And then he told me it was two different tunes on top of each other, and one of the lines, the melody was backwards or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I have what he said. He did stuff in retrograde. He said, used Cannon's series of pitches and dynamics. He did all kinds of.
And he combined tunes together, and you know, he did all kinds of shit. So it's really, it's not, definitely not a guitar record, and it's definitely not a loose, like improvised thing. I mean, it's serious composing going on, or decomposing. And then you know, it's really about how he organized the music. You know, there are little solo things, but really it's more about his arranging of the music, and which is mind-blowing. And then the orchestration is fucking incredible. Yeah, so I mean, it was great. I mean, it's kind of, it feels, the one with Matt and the one with Greg, I mean, it feels like my own, you know, they feel like my records as well.
Yeah.
They don't feel like some foreign object. And since I did the one with Matt, I've been really into doing this with people. You know, because all of them have a completely different point of view on what and I know that a lot of my music has other implications besides what I do with them.
Do you need or want to talk about Torn or Steve Byram? Everybody knows, but we should.
Yeah, I wish they would. Well, it's sort of a, you know, whenever any of these records happen, they have to be involved in some way at this point.
Yep, right.
You know, and it's sort of like everything has to be. Yeah, it's like somebody who makes movies and they always have the same crew. You know, for me, it's like an addiction. I have to have those guys in there somewhere. You know, and you know, it's nice because David talked to Mark and sort of discussed, you know, the mastering, and Steve just gets the music, and then whatever he does always adds to it. You know, and just feel, you know, it's like having an old coat that you don't want to throw out.
Yeah,
those guys are just, it makes the whole thing feel a little more special.
I'm excited we're doing this together. It means a lot to me. I mean, you're part of the reason Out of Your Head exists. I came to your house and we drank scotch, and I said, I'm thinking about starting a label. And all you said was, I think you should do it. And now look what you did to me. Look at me.
That's a good move, you know. It makes you understand when you do things for other labels, you have greater insight into how nice it is to do it yourself or something.
Oh, I mean, for my own style, I'll never do it a different way. Maybe not ever, but it's like